they've done it. They've actually launched Caffeine AI version 3, and I'm very happy, as you can probably tell. Now, I'll talk about the price of ICP very soon, which has had a pretty okay recovery in the past 24 hours, around 10%, but I'll talk about this fantastic milestone, in my opinion, first, because Caffeine AI version 3 brings a couple new features, and I'll talk about this. They talk about, for instance, an agentic build system. I think that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the second part they talk about, which is a new landing page experience. I think that right there, from a user interface standpoint of view, from just a experience overall in terms of using it, I think that right there could have maybe some long-term benefits. So 2 thumbs up for me. Furthermore, I take a look at an updated dashboard, which again, they list as something that's new. They talk about agents being able to read code base before building. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool as well. Let's also take a look at, for instance, they talk about a discovery phase. They talk about version history where we can track and restore previous builds. I think overall, it's just improving the user experience and just overall offering, I think, just a better product overall. Why is that a bad thing? A lot of people like to tell me that this is useless, but I disagree with that. I actually think this is pretty cool. And I think it's a good step in the right direction when it comes to Dfinity, because I view Caffeine AI as one of their flagship products. I do view it as something that is pretty important when it comes to Dfinity, and it clearly showcases that with the recent upgrade or update or whatever it's called in terms of Caffeine AI. It showcases they care, it showcases that they haven't forgot about it, and I think if anything, it showcases that they view it as a long-term thing. Other projects out there, when they create stuff, we don't really know what they're trying to do. Maybe it lasts for a couple months, maybe a year tops, but we just don't really see it be worked on. But I do like seeing this. Now, Caffeine AI inherently hasn't been around for that long, of course, but there's already version 3, which I think is just really awesome. I think it showcases, again, the effort, the dedication, and just the time and resources and energy that they put in to be able to do something like this. Again, version 1, was there anything inherently wrong with that? I would arguably say no. I mean, it was good to begin with. That's the way I take a look at it. But apparently already seeing version 3, that's really awesome. And remember in my last video, I was talking about them planning the launch of Caffeine AI version 3, and now they've actually done it, which I think is just overall really fantastic, because I don't necessarily think that the recent price recovery when it comes to ICP is solely because of this, but I think maybe it had a little bit of a factor, because we see the market picking up a little bit as of right now, slight recovery. Again, ICP around 10% in the past 24 hours, but I think maybe this Caffeine AI version 3 news, I would say, did make some attention, or should I say create some attention when it comes to the own computer, because I even see like major places where they usually talk about projects and stuff like that. For instance, in the case of BSC News, they were even talking about this, which was really surprising. I didn't know that they would even mention something like this, but they actually did. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Not to mention, I take a look at also in the case of people posting about it, seems like the community does care about what is going on when it comes to Caffeine AI. So I don't think it's a bad thing either. Keep in mind, in case someone doesn't know what Caffeine AI is, it's this self-writing apps platform basically, and it could hypothetically help developers use AI to help build apps. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, when I take a look at that right there, did you know as well that soon they're going to be having this live stream basically where they're going to be discussing about Caffeine AI version 3. It's going to be April 8th, 7 p.m. CET, 10 a.m. PDT. So that's when they're planning to do it. And they say it's going to be a live stream. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But besides that point though, when I take a look at Caffeine AI overall, people like to tell me that, oh, it was such a flop. Well, I can't really evaluate it in that way because it didn't launch at a time when the space had the best of the best sentiment. That actually wasn't the case. It actually launched when altcoins were not doing good. So when I take a look at that, I can't really evaluate it fully in that sense. But given the time when it launched, it wasn't really a flop. I mean, it still saw pretty good activity, and I think it saw good enough activity to the point that they even bother about version 3. This is the way I take a look at it. I mean, it's not like the worst launch of all time, in my opinion. It just wasn't aligned well with the altcoin space overall. But if the market hypothetically picks up again, which we're starting to see some hints of that as of right now, we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm saying still, if the market hypothetically really picks up again, I think it's actually better off in terms of Caffeine AI than before, because before version 1, again, I didn't see anything wrong with it, but with version 3 brings some new features, in my opinion. So of course that naturally would allow it, I think, for better mass adoption if it were to come, which naturally would have a higher probability of happening if the market were to pick up. So I think in hindsight, it was actually better timing overall in hindsight that Caffeine AI did launch when it did, so that they actually had time to improve it. Now, furthermore, people like to tell me again that, well, this recovery is pretty awesome, but ICP is still around $2.50. Not that bad though, right? I mean, around 10% in the past 24 hours. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. Furthermore, even with this recovery, ICP is still down by quite a lot, still down a big amount, right, from where it was last year. And even just back in November, we saw almost $9 when it comes to ICP. The pullback has still been pretty extensive, but at the end of the day, I'm in here for the long haul. I'm in here for the journey. I'm not here for a week or 2 weeks. That's not my style. That's not the lead the captain's style. So this recovery has been pretty awesome in the past 24 hours, but I'm still in this for the long haul nonetheless. Now, I feel like sometimes though, people usually only care after the journey has already happened, which is totally understandable because of course, it's not sometimes the easiest thing to do to believe in something that isn't necessarily doing the best. I'm totally aware of that. You know, it's like, for instance, being a fan of a sports team, but then they don't really win any championships for quite a while. Sometimes it just becomes like, wow, really? Just like that type of feeling, you know? So I kind of understand that when it comes to the sentiment when things are not doing the best. But when people usually care, the journey has already happened. So if the journey has already happened, it's kind of like, what's the point anymore at that point, right? If only it actually worked in the opposite way. Like, for instance, if people really cared about it when it wasn't doing the best, isn't that sometimes a more somewhat logical thing for me to do? Now, this is just personally in my case, because if something is kind of low and people are ignoring it, it only means that sometimes the hypothetical journey is just farther away. I don't want to wait for it to like already do its thing. But besides that point though, I'm still going to focus on it as of right now, because I don't want to see ICP at around almost $9 again and then me saying, oh, why did I ignore it? Well, I didn't. I'm pretty sure some people are going to tell me if for whatever reason ICP goes back to almost $9, I'm pretty sure some people are going to say, well, why did you ignore it when it was around $2.50? Well, how am I? I'm literally talking about it as of right now, but still nonetheless, I'm pretty sure some people are going to tell me that. But you know what? It is what it is. I can't really do anything about it. But I just find it pretty fascinating. I mean, we're over 3 times lower than where we were just back in November at a certain point. So to me, as of right now, I'm just still waiting. I mean, I can't really do much other than that. But if I take a look at Dfinity, what I have to give them, I guess, credibility for is the effort. They don't necessarily have to care that much about Caffeine AI, in my opinion, but they do anyways. For a lot of other projects out there, it's already kind of become the norm a little bit, the normal thing to do to kind of launch something and then not really care about it. So it's not like a lot of people would have really complained about that anyways, but the fact that Dfinity still cares, again, I have to kind of give them credit for that because it showcases the effort. They didn't necessarily have to do it, but they did it. So I do like seeing that. And also, if I take a look at it, even in the grand scheme of things, did they even really have to launch Caffeine AI in the first place? I didn't see a lot of people asking for that. I mean, a lot of people didn't even think about that concept at all. So when I take a look at that, I think that showcases the continued effort and the dedication by Dfinity. We'll see what happens moving forward though, but so far, I do like what I'm seeing. And really, I feel like actually, as of right now, ICP is better off fundamentally than before. Before it was almost $19. It was awesome, but I think it's just better right now. There was no Caffeine AI version 3 back then. That's just my point of view. However, I'll be making more updates moving forward, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.